Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today. Emperors, con artists, you name it. We're using Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power, seeing how these laws play out in real life with some, well, pretty fascinating historical examples.
Yeah. Not just history lessons, though, right? We're talking about spotting these power dynamics in your own world and using that knowledge.
Exactly. So picture yourself, I don't know, a palace, your Monday meeting. We're uncovering serious lessons about influence, strategy, maybe even a little bit of clever manipulation. Let's jump right in. Law number 1, never outshine the master.
Sounds simple, right? But this is all about ego and perception, how those things work in a power dynamic.
Right, and I think the story of Cesare Borgia and Prince Manfredo, that really shows this in action. Can you set the scene for us?
Okay, so Italian Renaissance. Think political intrigue, alliances shifting constantly. Cesare Borgia, son of Pope Alexander VI, cunning, ambitious, controlled a big chunk of Italy. Now, Prince Manfredo, ruler of Faenza, he was charming, good looks, great military leader. Sadly for him, those were kind of his downfall.
Oh, interesting. Because those things made him popular.
Yeah.
So, in a way, he was a threat to Borgia.
Exactly. Manfredo wasn't trying to outshine Borgia, he was just being himself. But to someone as power-hungry, as paranoid as Borgia, that natural charisma, that was a problem.
So Borgia just got rid of him immediately.
No, Borgia was strategic, cunning. He spared Faenza at first, let Manfredo live, like a calculated move, making Manfredo feel safe. But fast forward a few years, Borgia uses some trumped-up treason charge. Manfredo is imprisoned and executed.
Wow, that's brutal. Makes you wonder how anyone survived back then. But what's the takeaway for, like, me today?
It's about realizing sometimes the biggest threat isn't a lack of talent or hard work. It's how others see you. Never underestimate ego, especially with someone who has authority.
So we should all just be masters of flattery, constantly stroking egos.
Not really. Flattery can work, but it has to be genuine, subtle. It's more about awareness, how you present yourself, your ideas, make your boss feel smart, capable, even if you're the one with the brilliant solutions.
So, like, they're the sun, and you're just a planet happily orbiting around them.
You got it. It's about strategic positioning, not blind obedience.
Okay, makes sense. Now, this next one is a bit unsettling, maybe. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. That sounds intense.
It is, and it makes sense. Think about it. Friends, they can get envious, especially when you're successful, feeling left behind, like their work isn't recognized.
And that envy can turn into resentment, right? Even betrayal.
Exactly. Look at Byzantine Emperor Michael III and his best friend Basilius. They had this bond. Basilius even saved Michael from a wild horse.
Wow, that's the kind of thing you'd think would make a friendship unbreakable.
You'd think, right? Michael, super grateful, showered Basilius with gifts, promotions. He becomes the emperor's top advisor. But as Michael's power grows, Basilius gets more ambitious and resentful.
So instead of being happy for his friend, he sees it as a personal attack.
Yeah, good way to put it. Forgets all the favors and starts believing his success is all him.
And then he stages a coup.
Sadly, yeah. Betrays Michael, takes the throne, even has Michael killed. Chilling reminder that sometimes the closest people are the most dangerous.
So what are we supposed to do with that? Just distrust everyone?
It's not about being suspicious of everyone, but being observant, aware. Look at your own friendships, especially at work. Anyone seems super envious of your success, trying to undermine you.
So not cutting people off, just being smart about their motives, how they might react when you do well.
Precisely. And here's the interesting thing about Law 2. Greene actually says former enemies can be more loyal than friends, especially those you've defeated or who've been humbled. They got more to prove, less likely to take you for granted.
It's like they earn their place by opposing you at first.
It's counterintuitive, right? Makes
Yeah.
you think about trust and loyalty differently.
Okay, on to Law 3. Conceal your intentions. This one feels like a spy movie.
It's about recognizing knowledge is power, right? Hide your motives, keep your opponents guessing. Big advantage.
Like playing poker. Keep your cards close until the perfect moment.
Exactly. Look at Otto von Bismarck, the guy behind Germany's unification. He wanted war with Austria, saw it as necessary to create a unified German state. But instead of saying that, he did something unexpected.
He pretended to be against it.
Yep. Publicly opposed the war. Aligned with the peace advocates. Lulled his opponents into this false sense of security.
Wow, they were celebrating.
Bismarck was working behind the scenes, provoked Austria into actions that actually justified Prussia going to war. Masterclass in deception, strategy.
Wow. But does concealing your intentions, does that always mean lying? being dishonest.
Not necessarily. It's about strategy, the information you give, and when. Could be as simple as holding back in a negotiation or using subtle misdirection to get people to act in a way that benefits you.
So being a master strategist, not a master manipulator.
Exactly. Controlling the narrative, steering events, without showing your hand.
Okay, this next one seems tough in today's world of, everyone shouting their accomplishments.
Hmm.
Law 4, always say less than necessary. Why is holding back so powerful?
It's about mystery, intrigue. Have you noticed those who talk less but choose their words carefully? They command more attention. Respect.
It's like they know something you don't. Makes you want to lean in, listen closely.
Yeah. Saying less creates depth, intrigue. You avoid saying something dumb, revealing too much. Louis XIV's court is a good example.
The Sun King.
Yeah.
Famous for, well, being over the top, absolute rule.
Yeah. But in his court, those who impressed him, not the big talkers, those who mastered brevity, carefully controlling what they revealed, they understood silence is powerful, especially when everyone's trying to be heard.
So it's not being silent all the time, but knowing when to speak, when to hold back.
Right. It's about strategy with words, using silence to your advantage. Ever notice a well-placed pause? It can create tension, make what you say next more impactful.
Almost like a tease, keeping people wanting more.
Exactly. It's about mystery, intrigue, drawing people in.
Okay, so we've got don't outshine the master, be careful with friends, hide your intentions, talk less. Now, Law 5, so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Huge in the age of social media. Your online persona, it can make or break you.
It's true. Reputation is everything. Information travels so fast now. A good reputation opens doors, attracts opportunities.
But it's fragile too, right?
Very fragile. One wrong step, careless comment, bad photo, and it's gone.
And once it's damaged, almost impossible to fix.
That's why you have to be so careful about the image you project, online and offline. How do you want people to see you? What kind of reputation are you building?
And where does mystery fit into this?
Mystery. That's a powerful tool for building a strong reputation. Think about captivating historical figures. They often had this aura of mystery.
Like Mata Hari, that exotic dancer who mesmerized Europe. Her whole persona was carefully crafted, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Mata Hari, she was more than just a talented dancer. She was a master of self-invention. Her background was shrouded in mystery, Java, India, exotic stories, royal connections. It was all carefully crafted to make her stand out.
And it worked. In a world drowning in information, that mystery made her a sensation.
Yeah, people were attracted to her, desperate to figure it out. And that fueled her fame. She could charge more for her performances.
Like she was a brand before personal branding existed. She knew how to create a unique story, something people couldn't resist.
Right. And that story, built on mystery. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, heard, sometimes the most powerful thing is to hold back, leave people wanting more.
Like a strategic tease, creating buzz, drawing people in.
And she was great at it. The more you reveal, the less power you have. Mata Hari kept part of herself hidden. That way she controlled the story, solidified her reputation as this captivating enigma.
You're not suggesting we all wear veils and make up elaborate backstories, are you?
Not necessarily. But we can learn from her, right? Apply it to our lives. Think about your online presence. Do you share everything, or do you hold some things back? Create that intrigue that makes people curious.
I think we could all benefit from a little mystery in our personal brands.
For sure. When everyone's an open book, a little mystery goes a long way.
Okay, let's get to a law that's a bit, well, audacious, maybe mischievous. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark.
Playing dumb. Classic con artist tactic. And super effective when done right. The key is making your target feel smarter than you.
It's like you lull them into thinking they're the smartest person in the room. They let their guard down.
Exactly. When someone feels intellectually superior, they don't get suspicious. They might even underestimate you, which can work to your advantage.
And who better to show this than the Yellow Kid? This con he pulled off. Can you tell us about that?
The Yellow Kid, he was a master of deception. One of his most famous cons was this elaborate scheme where he tricked a millionaire, John D. Gelt, into thinking he was in on a fixed boxing match.
That sounds like a movie plot. How did he convince a millionaire to fall for that?
Patience. Creating an illusion. First, he distracts Gelt with a business deal, totally legit looking, about a hunting lodge. Then he introduces Gelt to this promising boxer, George Gross. Gross was actually middle-aged, out of shape, another con artist.
So Gelt had no clue he was dealing with a pro.
No. The Yellow Kid was great at playing naive, eager to please, made Gelt feel in control like he was the experienced one.
And then the boxing match.
Yep. The Yellow Kid stages this whole elaborate fight. Gross is badly injured, even seems to die. Gelt, terrified of being involved in a crime, runs off, leaving behind a ton of money.
And, of course, dead George Gross magically recovered.
Of course. Brilliant performance. All because the Yellow Kid convinced Gelt he was a clueless sucker.
So what's the lesson here? We should all pretend to be dumb to get what we want.
I wouldn't go that far, but it does show you gotta watch out for this tactic. Don't be fooled by someone seeming unintelligent or naive. Look for the hidden motives.
Good point. Don't underestimate anyone. Now let's talk about a tool that can be powerful, but also dangerous. Contempt.
Greene connects that to Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Find that pressure point, that weakness you can use to control, manipulate.
And not just finding the weakness, but knowing how to exploit it, right?
Exactly. We see this in history, used effectively, but also disastrously. Take King Henry VIII. He was a master of strategic contempt. Used it to get his divorce from Catherine of Aragon, even with the Pope against him.
Basically said, screw you to the Pope,
Yep.
and made himself head of the Church of England.
Bold move. And it worked for him. He controlled the narrative, used contempt to show his dominance.
But then there's Pausanias, Spartan general. Contempt didn't work out so well for him.
Pausanias, after spending time in Persia, got used to luxury. Totally clashed with the whole Spartan thing, you know. He showed off his wealth, his Persian influence style. Openly disrespected Spartan traditions.
And that arrogance, that led to his downfall.
Yep. The Spartans were insulted, accused him of treason, sentenced him to death. Shows you gotta understand the culture, the potential consequences when you use contempt as a weapon.
So the takeaway, contempt strategically
Yeah.
can be powerful for control, manipulation, but be careless. It blows up in your face.
Exactly. Know your audience, understand the potential consequences. It's a weapon, so wield it with skill. Precision.
Okay, this one feels a little counterintuitive, but powerful. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Sounds almost zen, like a riddle.
It's about realizing that sometimes the best move is to yield, retreat, even surrender, seemingly.
So not actual weakness, but choosing your battles, saving your energy.
Exactly. Think of Bertolt Brecht, the German playwright. Navigated Nazi Germany. Brecht was a communist, a target.
So how do you survive that?
Instead of resisting openly or running away, he did something more cunning. Outwardly, he conformed, even toned down his political views in his work.
Played the obedient citizen.
Yep, but secretly. He kept writing subversive plays, poems, working against the Nazi ideology undercover.
The Trojan horse. Looks harmless outside, but powerful force inside.
And like the Greeks, Brecht won. Survived the Nazis, kept writing.
Powerful reminder that sometimes, not fighting IS, winning. Bide your time, choose your battles, use your opponent's strength against them.
It's a great lesson for anyone facing a huge challenge.
Yeah.
Sometimes step back, reevaluate, find a smarter way to win. It's not weakness, it's wisdom.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. A law about generosity, strategic honesty. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Seems like a contradiction.
It is, but really effective, especially when someone's suspicious. A little honesty, a little generosity can lower their defenses.
It's not about being truly honest or generous, though. It's a tactic, right?
Exactly. One of the most audacious examples, Count Victor Lustig, a con man who swindled Al Capone.
Wait, he conned Al Capone? Seriously? Capone was ruthless, paranoid. How'd he pull that off?
He understood human psychology. Lustig went to Capone with a proposition. Give him 50 grand, he'd double it in 60 days. Capone was skeptical, of course, but Lustig had this charm, this sophistication that made him seem trustworthy.
So Capone took the bait.
He did. Gave Lustig the money. Probably figured he'd never see it again. But this is where Lustig is brilliant. After the 60 days, he goes back to Capone, all apologies. Plan failed, he says. Then he gives Capone the 50 grand back, explains he's a man of his word, couldn't cheat someone like Capone.
The honesty card.
Brilliantly played. Capone, totally surprised by the supposed integrity, was disarmed. He actually gives Lustig $5,000 as a consolation prize.
No way. He walked away with $5 grand, all because he pretended to be honest. It's like sometimes the best deception is making people think you're being totally upfront.
Exactly. It's human psychology, you know. Even the toughest, most cynical people can be vulnerable to well-placed acts of honesty. Generosity. Playing on their expectations, using their own biases against them.
Okay, let's go to a law about boldness, taking action. Law 28, enter action with boldness. Seems kind of different from some of the others, like hiding your intentions, being strategic with your words.
It's true. Sometimes subtlety, strategy, that's what you need. But other times, you gotta be bold. Seize the opportunity, show dominance, hesitation, timidity. That can be fatal. Those who act decisively, they're the ones who often succeed.
Like Michelangelo getting the commission to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling.
Michelangelo, he was a sculptor, not a painter. And he convinced Pope Julius II to give him this massive job.
And that Pope, not exactly known for patience, compromise. How did Michelangelo do it?
He knew how to promote himself. Bold, self-belief, didn't shy away from the challenge. Instead, confidently said he could create something incredible.
And that confidence, that was contagious.
Absolutely. Pope Julius II, he was ambitious himself, loved Michelangelo's vision, gave him the commission.
It's like sometimes the biggest thing holding us back is our own self-doubt.
Yeah.
If we don't believe in ourselves, how can we expect others to?
Exactly. It's not about arrogance, but having the courage to go for it, embrace challenges others might avoid.
Yeah, so sometimes you just got to act like you already know you're going to succeed.
It's about projecting that confidence, making people believe in you, follow your lead.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, in this fast-paced world, this one seems especially important. Law 29, plan all the way to the end.
This is about realizing that in the game of power, thinking short-term, that's a big mistake. Not thinking about the long-term consequences. That gets you caught off guard.
So think several steps ahead. Like chess, anticipate obstacles.
Exactly. Having a goal isn't enough. Got to have a plan and consider what could happen along the way.
A good example is Vasco Núñez de Balboa. Discovered the Pacific Ocean.
Balboa was ambitious, driven by gold, glory. He crossed Panama, fought natives, reached the Pacific. Amazing feat. But his ambition, it went faster than his planning.
He achieved his goal, but didn't think about what came next.
Right. Didn't anticipate the politics back in Spain. Got distracted by immediate rewards, didn't secure his position, didn't plan for the future. He was betrayed, executed by a rival who took advantage of that.
So it's not just about reaching your goals, it's about staying secure, looking ahead to future challenges.
Exactly. It's about thinking big picture, strategically, not just reacting to what's right in front of you. The people who plan all the way to the end, they win.
Okay, this one seems relevant in our image-obsessed world. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Sounds like a magic trick.
It is a bit like magic. Hide the hard work, the strategy behind your wins. Make things look easy, natural. Projects confidence, mastery. Increases your power.
So it's not about being lazy, cutting corners. It's about presenting your achievements in a way that makes you look even better.
Right. Think of Harry Houdini, the escape artist. He was all about illusion, right? Made these crazy escapes look effortless, almost superhuman.
Straight jackets, underwater, buried alive. It was incredible.
And he did it all with this air of confidence, ease, like he had supernatural powers. But it wasn't magic. Years of practice, research, physical conditioning. Never revealed his secrets, though. Left people amazed, wondering how he did it.
Like the best way to impress someone is to make it look like you're not even trying.
It's like a swan on water. You only see the graceful gliding, not the hard work underneath.
Good analogy. It's about focusing on the result, not the process.
Exactly. And that focus, projecting this image of effortless mastery, it can be a powerful tool when you're going for power.
Okay, let's look at a law about control. Setting the stage. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal.
Limit your opponent's choices. Make them think they have control, but really you're guiding them toward the decision you want.
Who better to show this than Ivan the Terrible, first Tsar of Russia?
Ivan, he had a problem. Powerful boyars, the Russian nobles, they were a threat. He needed to consolidate his power, get rid of them. He did it through manipulation.
He used their own game against them.
In a way. He makes this dramatic exit from Moscow. Says he's quitting because the boyars are disloyal. All an act, of course.
He was putting on a show. Never planned to actually quit.
Nope. Ivan knew without him, the boyars would panic. They'd be vulnerable to attacks, chaos. So he gave them a choice. Beg him to come back, give him total power, or deal with the consequences.
And he knew they'd pick the option that gave him what he wanted.
Exactly. Faced with that, they chose the lesser evil, begged him to come back, gave him the absolute power he'd been wanting.
Wow. Talk about manipulation. He'd back them into a corner where they had to give him what he wanted.
It's risky, but when it works, it's really effective. Sometimes the best way to win is to make sure your opponent has no choice but to play your game.
Okay, this one seems to get at something very human. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. That's almost a marketing slogan.
It's about realizing humans are driven by their desires, what they want to achieve. If you can tap into that, you have a lot of influence.
Understand what people want, what they dream of, and then offer them a way to get it. A product, a path, whatever.
Exactly. The alchemists of Venice, they're a perfect example.
Venice, canals, carnivals, and alchemists.
Venice was declining. Used to be powerful economically, but not anymore. The people were desperate to get back to the good old days. Easy to trick them with promises of alchemy.
Turning lead into gold. A nice escape from the harsh reality.
Exactly. They played on that fantasy of getting rich quick, bringing back Venice's golden age.
And the people, they wanted a miracle so badly, they just threw money at the alchemists.
The promises were empty, of course. Venice kept declining.
But it shows you how powerful it is to understand and exploit human desire.
People would rather believe a comforting lie than face an uncomfortable truth.
And those who can tell those lies, create those stories we want to hear, they have a lot of power.
As true today as it was back then, people still fall for promises of easy solutions, quick fixes.
Good reminder to be wary of those who appeal to our emotions, not our logic.
And be critical of anyone who promises more than they can deliver.
Okay, back to a law that's, well, a bit edgy, but powerful. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. We talked about contempt, but what are some other ways to exploit those vulnerabilities?
Find someone's secret pleasure, their guilty indulgence.
The stuff we hide from the world.
Exactly. A secret hobby, an expensive thing they bought, an embarrassing habit, whatever it is, once you know, you can use it. Control their behavior, or in extreme cases, blackmail.
Information is power. The more you know, the more leverage you have.
Right. Another thumbscrew is insecurity, fear. We all have anxieties, things that keep us up at night. Use those fears, you can get someone to act against their own interests.
So it's not enough to find the weakness. You got to know how to use it. Play on their emotions. Use their psychology against them.
Exactly. That's the real art of power, understanding and manipulating human nature.
Okay, let's look at a law about projecting authority, commanding respect. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one.
It's about recognizing power isn't just what you do, but how you present yourself. Confidence, dignity, self-assurance, that commands respect.
Who better to illustrate this than Louis XIV, the Sun King?
He was all about image, used everything to reinforce his authority, elevate his status, build Versailles, had elaborate rituals and ceremonies, cultivated an image of absolute power.
He was like power and majesty personified.
And his subjects, totally captivated by his royal aura, they treated him with reverence, obeyed him completely.
So not about actually being royalty. It's about having that royal mindset, self-worth, confidence.
Exactly. It's about understanding perception and using it to your advantage.
Okay, this one seems to be about letting go, choosing your battles.
Wow.
Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Why is ignoring something you want so powerful?
Because sometimes walking away is the smartest move, especially when something's unattainable. By not acknowledging it, you take away its power over you. No more frustration, resentment.
Like the saying, if you love something, set it free.
Exactly. Think about how much you appreciate something after you've been without it. Could be anything, your favorite food, a person you love, even a TV show. When you have it all the time, you take it for granted. It's true, letting go. It can be powerful. Protect yourself, especially when you're dealing with, something you can't have.
Good point. And King Croesus, right, Lydia, immense wealth, power. But doesn't seem like all that made him wise.
You're right. Croesus wanted to impress Solon, the philosopher. Showed off his treasures, palaces, armies, all that. But Solon, wise guy, he wasn't impressed. Saw it all as temporary. Meaningless, even.
I bet Croesus didn't like hearing that.
Nope, offended even. Dismissed Solon's words. Thought he was just an old man rambling. Solon had warned him, though. Fortune is fickle. Even the most powerful can fall. But Croesus, pride, attachment to his stuff, ignored the warning.
And then
He lost everything.
defeated by Cyrus, the Persian king, lost it all. Shows you sometimes the things we hold on to the tightest, they can be what brings us down. It's like a reminder. Material wealth, power, it's all temporary in the end. Real happiness, fulfillment, comes from something deeper.
Exactly. And sometimes, to find that deeper meaning, you gotta let go of the things you can't control.
Okay, this law is about creating a shared purpose, identity. Law 37, create compelling spectacles.
This feels like it applies to a lot, right? Rallies, Super Bowl halftime shows, all that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's about visuals, symbols, using them to inspire, motivate, control. Think about flags, banners, in wars throughout history.
Right. A piece of cloth with a symbol can rally troops, scare enemies, create this feeling of unity, purpose.
Those symbols, they mean something emotionally. They go beyond language, culture, create a shared identity, and that can be incredibly powerful.
Same with sports. Fans, their team colors, logos, it's like a religion.
It's tribal, right? We want to belong, be part of something bigger, and if you can tap into that, create those spectacles, that's real power.
Power isn't just brute force or strategy. It's also about inspiring people, motivating them, uniting them. And that's what those spectacles do. They hit us emotionally, our desires that need to belong.
Okay, let's get into one that might make people uncomfortable, but it's real. Throughout history, Law 38, think as you like, but behave like others. Seems like it goes against being yourself, standing up for your beliefs.
Sometimes, yeah, conforming feels wrong, like you're betraying yourself. But in the game of power, blending in, following the rules, it can be a good strategy, especially when you're dealing with a system, a culture that doesn't want to change.
So pick your battles.
Yeah.
When to conform, when to rebel.
Exactly. There are times to fight this system, but other times it's smarter to play along on the outside while working for change on the inside.
Parthenius, that Spartan general. He didn't conform, embraced Persian ways. Didn't end well for him.
He didn't understand blending in, respecting the norms. Even if you disagree, his nonconformity was seen as dangerous. He paid the price.
So how do you find that balance? Being true to yourself and navigating the expectations of those in power.
Be adaptable. Understand the situation. Sometimes direct confrontation isn't the best way to get power. You got to be strategic. Play the game. Know the rules. Know when to bend them, when to break them.
Okay, this next one seems to be about emotional intelligence, self-control. Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish.
Sometimes it's good to stay calm, objective, but you can also use other people's emotions to your advantage.
Be the eye of the storm. Everyone else is freaking out, but you're cool, calm, collected.
Exactly. Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, 1930. He knew how to use people's emotions against them. He had a rival, Ras Guga, threat to his power.
How do you handle that? Direct confrontation.
Nope. Much smarter. He provoked Guga into rebelling. He knew that would weaken Guga. A premature move.
So he basically tricked Guga into destroying himself.
Selassie used insults, provocations, played on Guga's anger, his pride, made him make bad decisions, led to his downfall. Selassie, he stayed calm, waited for the right moment.
Sometimes the best way to win is to let your opponent defeat themselves.
Stay calm, objective. You can exploit those emotional outbursts, make them make mistakes. Then you capitalize.
It's powerful, but use it carefully.
Definitely. There's a line between strategy and just being manipulative.
Okay, this law feels relevant in a world of, free stuff everywhere. Law 40, despise the free lunch.
Nothing's really free, right? Especially when it comes to power, there's always a catch.
So be suspicious of anyone offering something for nothing.
They usually have an agenda, trying to get on your good side, make you owe them something, get you to do what they want.
It's not about being ungrateful, just being aware.
Right. In the game of power, there's always a price, even for free stuff.
Okay, this one seems relevant for anyone who's had a successful parent or a mentor. Law 41, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes.
Following someone who's achieved a lot, you're always going to be compared to them. Not always a good thing.
It's good to have role models, but it can be intimidating, trying to live up to that.
And it's tough to escape their shadow, especially if it's your parent, someone you look up to. Alexander the Great. He had this problem. His dad, King Philip of Macedon, amazing ruler, conquered most of Greece.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah.
So how did Alexander deal with that? Create his own legacy?
He knew he couldn't just copy his dad, had to do his own thing. He had a different style of leadership, more charisma, more daring, more vision.
So he wasn't trying to be his dad. He was trying to be better.
Kind of, yeah. He learned from his dad, but then went beyond that. Conquered Persia, Egypt, India, built an empire way bigger than his dad's.
If you're following a great person, find a way to stand out. Create your legacy.
Respect the past, but build on it. Be innovative. Be yourself. Take the best of what came before and add your own talent, your vision. Create something amazing.
Okay, this law seems to be all about strategy. Focusing your attack. Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Sounds kind of ruthless.
It is. But it's about realizing that in any group organization, there's a key person, the leader. They hold everything together, take them out. The rest of the group falls apart.
Cut off the head of the snake.
Genghis Khan conquering the Khwarezmian Empire. They're powerful, Central Asia, but ruled by one Shah.
So Genghis Khan figured, take out the Shah, the empire collapses.
He was a brilliant strategist, knew the Shah was the key, focused his attacks on the Shah's armies, his strongholds, took out the leadership.
Did it work?
Oh, yeah. Shah defeated, the whole empire fell apart. Provinces, cities, just like dominoes. Sometimes the best way to win is to go for the head, the leader, the source of their power.
Powerful tactic. But gotta be precise, strategic. Don't want to strike the shepherd and then realize there are wolves waiting.
Right. Understand the power dynamics, when to strike, when to hold back.
Okay, let's look at a law about persuasion, understanding how people work. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others.
Humans are emotional, driven by what they want, what they're afraid of. Understand those emotions, manipulate them. That's power.
Not just logic, reason. It's about emotions, the real drivers behind what people do.
Think of Alcibiades, Athenian general, politician, a master persuader. He knew people respond to emotions more than logic, used it to his advantage.
A master manipulator.
He knew how to play on people's feelings. Charismatic speaker, could adapt to any audience. Charming when he needed to be, but also ruthless, manipulative when it suited him.
So he wasn't afraid to play dirty.
He understood how to use people's emotions. Good A&D, bad ones. Gain trust, loyalty, even when what he was doing was questionable.
Power isn't just force, strategy. It's about connecting with people emotionally.
Understanding what they want, what they fear, what they dream of, and then using that to get them to do what you want. Powerful skill. Can be used for good or bad. But one thing's for sure, a heart and mind. That's where the real battle for power takes place.
Okay, this law is about being adaptable, hard to pin down. Law 48, assume formlessness. Sounds kind of abstract.
It is. Be adaptable, flexible, elusive, like water. If you're formless, you're hard to control. You can flow around problems, adapt to change, and eventually your opponent gets tired, gives up.
Like a chameleon, blending in, changing to fit any situation.
T.E. Lawrence. Lawrence of Arabia led the Arab revolt against the Ottomans in World War I.
Lawrence of Arabia. Talk about adventure, intrigue.
He was amazing. He knew traditional warfare wouldn't work against the Ottomans, not in the desert, so he used guerrilla tactics. Hit-and-run attacks, sabotage, surprise, disrupt their supplies, make them lose morale.
He didn't fight the way they expected. He changed the game.
Master of being elusive. Appear, disappear. Led the Ottomans on a wild goose chase.
Being rigid and flexible, that can be fatal. Too predictable, too stuck in your ways. The adaptable, elusive people, they'll win.
Be like water, flow around the obstacles. Adapt, overcome.
Okay, let's get into a law about, well, vibes. Law 10, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky.
Emotions are contagious, right? Hang around negative people, pessimistic people, it rubs off on you. Can bring you down.
So it's not just about avoiding toxic people for your own sake. It's about protecting your own success, your own luck.
Think about it. You know those people who always seem to have bad luck. Complaining, getting into trouble, drama follows them everywhere.
Oh yeah, I know a few.
It's not a coincidence. That negativity, it's like it sucks the good luck out of everything.
So what do you do? How do you avoid that?
Be careful who you spend time with. Surround yourself with positive, optimistic, successful people. That energy, it's contagious too. Creates a positive feedback loop. Helps you succeed, makes you feel better.
Choose your tribe wisely.
The people around you, they have a huge impact on you. You might not even realize it.
Okay, this one is about timing. Seems like it's pretty important. Law 15, crush your enemy totally.
This is about realizing that sometimes leaving your enemy wounded is worse than destroying them. They want revenge. More unpredictable, more dangerous.
So be ruthless, no mercy.
Not always about being ruthless. Think strategically. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your enemy is to end it quickly. Doesn't have to be violent, of course. Could be a toxic relationship, a bad business deal. Cut it off clean.
Know when it's over. Take action. Move on.
Sometimes being firm, decisive, that's the most compassionate thing, even if it hurts in the short term.
Makes sense. Let's get into one that seems counterintuitive. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Disappear to gain power.
When something's rare, it's more valuable. When it's everywhere, you take it for granted.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly. You appreciate things more after you've been without them. Food, people, whatever. Too much of something, you don't value it as much.
So how do we use that, absence I mean, to get more respect, honor?
Be strategic. Don't be available all the time. Be picky about what you go to, who you meet with, what information you share.
Create a sense of exclusivity. Make people feel lucky to have your attention.
You're not around as much. You seem more important. People want what they can't have.
Okay, this law is about your network, who you trust. Law 19, know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Sounds simple, but probably not that easy.
It's easy to misjudge people, but with power, you've got to be careful who you trust, who you work with, who you cross.
So how do you not offend the wrong person? How do you get that good judgment?
Pay attention. Watch how people act. Trust your gut. Don't be fooled by appearances or what people say about themselves. Look at how they treat others, especially those who are lower than them.
See past the surface. Figure out their real motives.
And remember, not everyone plays by the same rules. Some people, it's all about ambition. Others, it's greed, revenge.
Know your enemy and yourself.
Power is complex, lots of layers. Be observant, strategic, always thinking a few steps ahead. That's how you win.
Okay, this law seems to be about getting things done through other people. Law 20, do not commit to anyone.
In the game of power, alliances change. Loyalties shift. Stay independent. Keep your options open.
Don't trust anyone. Look out for number 1.
It's not about distrusting everyone, but realize when you're going for power, you got to make tough choices.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to let people down, even those who've helped you.
Be practical, strategic.
Sentimentality, that can hold you back.
This next one is about creating anticipation, making people want something. Law 24, play the perfect courtier. Sounds old-fashioned, like something from a royal court.
It is, but the ideas are still relevant today. Presentation, social skills, subtle persuasion, it all matters.
Be charming, witty, socially smooth.
A good courtier can move through any social circle, change their behavior, conversation to fit the people they're with. They can read people, understand what they want, even if they don't say it.
Not just socializing, it's a strategy.
Social interactions, they're often power plays, even if they don't seem like it.
And those who can play the game well, they have a lot of influence.
Be charming, but strategic. Make people feel good about themselves. Flatter them subtly. Steer the conversation the way you want it to go.
Okay, let's move on to a law that's about timing, momentum. Law 26, keep your hands clean. Sounds like it's about ethics, but I bet there's more to it than that.
Ethics are important, sure, but this is also about avoiding blame, keeping a good reputation.
Don't get your hands dirty, literally and figuratively.
Perception is everything. Even if what you're doing is legal, if it looks bad, it hurts you.
Be above suspicion. Make sure you can defend what you do.
And if you got to do something questionable, find someone else to do it. Distance yourself.
Like, don't do anything you wouldn't want to see on the front page.
Exactly. Be aware of your image. Make sure your actions match the reputation you want.
This next one seems to be about creating urgency, getting people excited. Law 27, play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following.
People want to believe in something bigger than themselves, a movement, a cause, something that gives their life meaning.
Belonging, shared identity.
And if you can create that kind of following, that's real power.
Think of those charismatic leaders, politicians, religious figures. They get millions of people to follow them.
It's not about brainwashing. It's about understanding what people want, what they dream of, and then giving them a vision, a path, a way to believe, something that speaks to those desires.
Hope, something to fight for.
The power of belief. Use it to get people moving. Achieve your goals.
Okay, this one seems to be about knowing when to make your move. Law 35, master the art of timing.
Timing is everything. When to be bold, decisive, when to wait.
When to go for it, when to hold back.
Exactly. Move too soon, that can be a disaster. But so can hesitation. The masters of timing, they read the situation, know the risks, the opportunities, then they act decisively at the right time.
Like a martial artist, waiting for their opponent to make a mistake, then bam.
Timing is everything, in power, in fighting.
Okay, this one seems to be about, well, using your opponent's weaknesses against them.
Wow.
Law 44, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect.
People hate seeing their own flaws in others.
So to get under their skin, you just show them their own bad behavior.
Forces them to face their own issues, their insecurities.
Like arguing with someone who just repeats what you say. Makes you sound stupid.
They can't argue with their own words, makes them doubt themselves. Subtle manipulation, but it works.
Okay, this one seems to be about creating a diversion. Distraction. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once.
People don't like change, especially if it's big, sudden.
So to make a change, do it slowly, subtly.
Like boiling a frog. Throw it in hot water, it jumps out. But slowly heat up the water. The frog doesn't notice until it's too late.
Be patient, strategic. Shift things without making people panic.
Real power. It's about influencing the environment, not always about fighting directly.
This law seems to be about being relatable. Law 46, never appear too perfect. Don't brag about your achievements. Seems odd.
Perfection can be intimidating. People don't relate to it.
Be more human. Show your flaws.
Think of those great leaders. They weren't perfect, made mistakes, had setbacks.
But that made them more relatable, even more inspiring.
People connect with authenticity, those who are real, who show their vulnerabilities.
So, not about being bad on purpose. Just be yourself, even the imperfect parts.
Real power is about connecting with people, human to human.
Okay, this law seems to be about knowing when to walk away. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop.
A lot of successful people don't seem to learn this one.
Easy to get carried away when you're winning. Push too far.
Oh, well, your head.
Victory is temporary. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. Smart strategists, they know when to enjoy the win, not get greedy.
Sometimes the best way to win is to stop playing.
Exactly.
Wow, we've covered a lot. From courtiers to con artists, so much to think about.
Friends, intentions, fantasies, we've looked at it all.
Emperors, generals, even some criminals. Their successes, their failures. All lessons to learn from.
Hopefully you've got some good insights into how power works, then and now. This is just a taste of what Robert Greene has to offer. So much strategic brilliance, psychological insights in those 48 laws.
Power is a tool. Use it wisely.
Think about the power dynamics in your own life. Who are the players? What are your moves?
Pay attention. Be strategic. And remember, sometimes the best move is the one nobody sees coming.
Yeah, the double-edged sword, right? Power. It could be used for good or bad, but at least now we can see it a little better.
Awareness is key. It's like, we've got this decoder ring now. We can understand why people do, what they're really after.
Okay, to wrap up this deep dive, let's go to a law that seems, well, perfect for our times. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Especially with social media, everyone's arguing constantly.
Actions speak louder, Frey. Especially with power. Argue all you want, but in the end, what you do matters more.
Talk is cheap, right?
Exactly. Ever been in an argument you won technically, but still felt like you lost?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like winning the battle, but not the war.
In the game of power, it's not about being right. It's about getting results. Take action. Show what you can do. Let your accomplishments speak for themselves.
So instead of wasting time arguing, trying to convince people, just prove it with your actions.
Your work, your achievements, that's the best argument. That's how you build a reputation. That's how you win.
Wow, what a journey this has been. So much to think about. Courtiers, con artists, all of it.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? Don't trust your friends too much. Hide your intentions. Play to people's fantasies. All these strategies.
Emperors, generals, even criminals, they all have something to teach us, right? About what to do, what not to do.
It's all about recognizing how power works, right? Then, now, it's all connected.
This was just a glimpse into those 48 laws of power, but hopefully it sparks some ideas.
Remember, power can be used in many ways. It's up to each of us to choose.
So use this knowledge wisely, everyone. Think about the power dynamics in your own life. Who are the players? What are you gonna do?
And remember, pay attention. Be strategic. And sometimes, the best move is the one nobody expects.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, remember, knowledge is power, but only if you know how to use it.